Imagine you're in a burning room. Smoke is blinding your vision. Flames crawling up the walls, alarms screaming in your ears. And yet, there's a person calmly walking through it all, eyes focused, breath steady. They aren't superhuman. They've simply mastered something that most of us never do: inner control. In a world where most people are driven by their urges, distractions, and impulses, the ones who rise are those who have mastered 5 invisible forces. These aren't skills you learn in school. They're not tricks you find on Instagram. They are the core mechanisms that shape how you think, feel, act, and live. Control these 5 things and the world will no longer control you. Part 1. Control your thoughts. Your mind is not just a tool, it's a battlefield. And most people are losing the war inside their heads. Aaron Beck, the father of cognitive behavioral therapy, proved that our thoughts are not just random background noise. They are the blueprint of our emotions and behavior. A single unchecked thought can become a belief. That belief can become an identity, and that identity becomes your destiny. Think of the man who constantly tells himself, "I'm not good enough." He doesn't just think it once. He thinks it every time he enters a room, every time he opens his mouth, every time he faces a challenge. That thought becomes a lens, distorting how he sees the world, how he sees others, how he sees himself. Carl Jung called these shadow thoughts the dark, suppressed beliefs we carry inside us. The more we avoid confronting them, the more they control us. Jung believed that what we deny within ourselves becomes our fate. These disowned parts of ourselves often manifest as anxiety, self-doubt, or projection onto others. One powerful tool from CBT is thought record keeping. Writing down thoughts when anxiety hits, breaking them into categories: trigger, automatic thought, emotion, evidence for, evidence against, and new thought. This process, when practiced over time, builds cognitive immunity, resistance to distorted thinking. Neuroscience backs this up. Every time we repeat a thought, a neural pathway is reinforced. That's called neuroplasticity. You are literally wiring your brain through repetition. So if you feed it thoughts of fear, helplessness, or unworthiness, you sculpt a brain that believes it's broken. But if you consciously insert empowering thoughts, "I can learn from this. This failure doesn't define me," you begin to shift your default wiring. Control your thoughts, and you begin to control the story your life is telling. Part 2. Control your emotions. Most people think emotions are weaknesses, but the truth is emotions are compasses. The problem isn't that we feel too much, it's that we don't know what we're feeling. Daniel Goleman, who popularized the concept of emotional intelligence, EQ, said that people with high EQ aren't emotionless. They're emotionally aware. They can feel anger without becoming destructive, feel fear without becoming paralyzed, feel sadness without collapsing. What Goleman emphasizes is the power of self-awareness, knowing what you're feeling as you're feeling it. It's a skill that develops through mindfulness, inner inquiry, and non-reactive observation. Paul Ekman, a psychologist who studied facial expressions and micro-emotions, showed how deeply ingrained emotions are. Even our faces react before our minds do. Emotions aren't conscious decisions, they're instinctive reactions. But we can influence how long they last and what meaning we attach to them. Carl Rogers explained that emotional repression often leads to psychological dysfunction. When we suppress anger, fear, guilt, or shame, it doesn't disappear. It hides, and it hijacks us when we're most vulnerable. True strength is emotional mastery, recognizing what you feel, understanding why you feel it, and choosing how to express it. Here's the truth. Emotions carry information. Anxiety may signal unpreparedness. Anger may indicate a boundary crossed. Guilt might point toward misalignment with your values. But if you never sit with them, if you numb, distract, or run, you miss their wisdom. Part 3. Control your habits. You are not what you think. You are what you repeatedly do. This idea, grounded in behavioral psychology by B.F. Skinner, tells us that behavior becomes identity. The person who runs daily becomes a runner. The person who writes daily becomes a writer. Habits shape who we are, whether we're aware of them or not. Charles Duhigg in The Power of Habit reveals how our brain creates habit loops: cue, routine, reward. Once this loop is in place, the brain stops fully participating in decision-making. That means your habits are either programming you for power or for self-destruction. Consider this: waking up and reaching for your phone before your feet touch the ground. That habit might seem harmless, but over time it builds a pattern: dopamine first thing in the morning, reactive thinking, passive consumption before creation. That sets the tone for your day. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, breaks this down further. He emphasizes identity-based habits. Don't aim to read more. Aim to become a reader. Don't aim to exercise. Aim to become an athlete. The focus is on systems, not outcomes. Habits are also tied to environment. According to Clear, if you want to change a habit, don't rely on willpower. Shape your surroundings. Put the book on your pillow. Keep your phone in another room. Your behavior is often a reflection of what's around you. In psychology, this is supported by the cue-dependent theory of behavior. The more friction you create between yourself and a bad habit, the less likely it will occur. Long-term transformation doesn't come from big, dramatic changes. It comes from micro-decisions made daily. 1% better each day compounds. So does 1% worse. Control your habits, and you control your trajectory. Part 4. Control your time. Time is the one thing every human receives equally, but how you use it determines who you become. Cal Newport, in his book Deep Work, argues that we're living in the most distracted era in history. Focused time is now a luxury, but for those who can claim it, it becomes a weapon. The average person checks their phone 96 times a day. That's once every 10 minutes. That doesn't just fracture your day, it fractures your mind. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi describes a mental state called flow, a peak zone where time disappears and creativity and performance skyrocket. But flow doesn't happen in chaos, it happens in control. Flow is achieved when skill level meets challenge level and requires uninterrupted time blocks. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, once said, "Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose. In our choice lies our growth and our freedom." Most people don't live, they react. They wake up and immediately check for updates, messages, alarms. Their time is owned by everyone else's priorities. But time management isn't just productivity, it's sovereignty, it's self-respect. Use the Eisenhower matrix to separate urgent from important tasks. Apply the Pomodoro technique to build focus stamina. Design a day with deep work windows and deliberate rest. Ask, what do you say yes to that deserves a no? And what dreams are you postponing for scrolling? Control your time and you start living by design, not by default. Part 5. Control your focus. Focus is the new IQ. In an attention-fractured world, the ability to direct your focus is your greatest superpower. Daniel Kahneman, Nobel Prize-winning psychologist, showed us how human attention is limited and highly biased. We don't see the world as it is, we see what we focus on. Tristan Harris, a former Google design ethicist, reveals how modern technology is designed to hijack your attention, turning you into a dopamine-addicted zombie. Every notification, every buzz, every red icon is carefully engineered to override your brain's natural rhythm. But your focus isn't just a productivity tool, it's a mirror of your soul. What you pay attention to consistently is what you become. If you focus on negativity, you become bitter. If you focus on growth, you become powerful. Gabor Maté connects trauma with focus dysfunction, especially in ADHD. If your focus is fragmented, ask yourself, what pain are you escaping from? Focus is fragile. It requires silence. It requires solitude. It requires intentional living. Practice digital minimalism. Turn off non-essential notifications. Block out time for deep focus. Protect your mornings from passive input. Begin your day with creation, not consumption. Meditation, especially mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, MBCT, helps restore attention. Over time, you train your mind to come back again and again. That's the gym of your focus muscle. Control your focus and the world no longer scatters you. You become centered, directed, and unstoppable. These 5 things, thoughts, emotions, habits, time, and focus, aren't just self-help buzzwords. They're the foundation of your inner architecture. The world will always try to distract you, provoke you, exhaust you, and steal your attention. But if you control these 5 forces, you become unshakable. Not overnight, not in a month, but gradually, powerfully, you begin to shift. First internally, then externally. Control your thoughts, and you control your beliefs, control your emotions, and you control your reactions. Control your habits, and you control your identity. Control your time, and you control your destiny. Control your focus, and you control your evolution. So remember, mastering life is not about controlling the outside world. It's about mastering the invisible world within. Because the one who controls himself cannot be controlled by anyone else.